clearly they weren't in comparison. But yeah, they were
Well,
fine.
this is a thing, right?
Story
I've
and
never used that as a criticism for Shazam. I never thought they phoned it in any of those movies.
okay,
Never said.
cool. A lot of people, but like, I'm just saying that they functioned well for this movie as villains for this movie. It's kind of like the same with Ares and Wonder Woman. I never really saw him as a bad villain because he functioned well for the story. He didn't need to be anything more
Stand
than
out
that.
like
The
the
only thing I would
Joker
have
or
liked
Green
is,
Goblin.
yeah, the only thing I would have liked is like his costume to be better. But like,
I
yeah,
liked the
it's
guy better. I liked the guy better than Sharon Sarandon. Like I said, I think Sharon
Yeah,
Sarandon just
Carapax was
who
cool.
Susan Sarandon. Who the fuck is Sharon?
Susan, whatever. Susan Sarandon. Sharon, Susan, whatever. I think she phoned it in. Like I just felt like, or it was just paycheck. I'm gonna do this to get a paycheck because she hasn't done shit in how many years, right? So
No, I think she did this. Oh, that was the other thing I really liked about the movie, the politics. I thought the way they did the politics in the movie of like how America was uh like
Anti-communism,
on all these kind
anti-communism
of,
in Cuba
yeah,
and stuff.
like secret anti-communist missions and stuff like that in South America, like toppling governments, overthrowing communist governments, and placing in fascist regimes. I thought that was interesting. I thought that made it like different from like
And
your run of the mill superhero movies, to be honest.
yeah, and that's why I like that I like that the villain worked in that sense because he's not Mexican, he's Hispanic in the film too, and he's forced by Americans to fight their wars and stuff. He's harming his own people in a sense. And by the end of it all, not saying that's the reason he changes, like, oh, I'm because never do I feel in the film like, he feels bad about, what happened with Jaime and his family because they're Hispanic and stuff just like him, but it just adds on to it because they are part of his group of people that he associates himself with,
Yeah.
And the fact that he, everything just happened. I thought emotionally everything worked. He served the story, he served the plot. And I like that at the end, he did, in a sense, Jaime helped rehabilitate and redeem the villain in a sense, like put him back on a better path.
I'll
Help him
you
understand a little better.
That part was good, but the fat guy just switching like that kind of was like out of nowhere to me.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't. Look, if anything in this movie, I did not like that fat dude. Well, okay, throughout the film, they did show that he did not like what was going on, but him at the end, the way he went out, I thought it was too goofy because it's like him saying his name, like my name is Roberto, blah 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 blah, Esteban, blah. Like I didn't need to hear all that.
Yeah, that was a little bit silly, but there was silliness sprinkled throughout this movie, which I don't think necessarily needed to be there. The other thing I really like, because I was thinking I didn't really like the family because I thought they were a bit too goofy. That being said,
some of the music was shit as well.
But
I'll be honest.
Let me just say one thing really before I forget. They did the symbiote host thing way better than Venom. Way better. It was much more entertaining the way the symbiote was interacting with him, and obviously the film is just better.
Onto his body too.
Than Venom. Yeah,
that was a very interesting way for his suit to transform onto his body. The way it burned, it burned as it came across his skin. It didn't look like nanotech. It didn't look like an Iron Man suit. The way it jumps onto somebody, it's it did its own little unique spin on how you can put on a suit of his metal.
I thought that was for me the most interesting thing. I didn't like Blue Beetle's powers necessarily. I like the fact that they brought in the Omax. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
What do you think about it in comparison to like Moon Knight?
Do you guys know the Omax story in DC? Big story.
It's better than fucking Moon Knight.
Yeah, like how he learns his powers. You like more than Moon Knight?
Oh yeah, way better. This thing where I agree, and I think this is what Alonso was pretty much alluding to. While the family element was strong in the film, there should have been more private, personal time with Jaime and the Scarab talking.
Yeah, and just better actors.
It should have been more private time with them to really develop them. While I still think it worked, but there was some parts in the film where, like, Jaime found out Kajila's name. It would have been cool to hear her say that and say it to him, because she didn't say that during the fight. I understand that she's talking to him while he's, we can't hear him. He can hear it, but they could have shown it a little bit more.
Yeah, they could have had more dialogue between the two of them. You know what I mean? I think that would have made it more a little bit, because even the scene where he's going for the job, you know what I mean? And the family's outside and they're beeping the horns and start singing and shit. That was corny to me.
But that's what Hispanic families do. They do that shit like that.
I didn't like the way everything was so obvious.
They really be like
the cinematography. I really didn't like the way everything was so obviously purple. That bothered.
I actually liked that.
But it was too much. It was too in your face. It was like having a Superman or Wonder Woman movie where like everything is like blue, yellow, and red. Like it's kind of weird.
There's a part where they're looking over the city, and I thought it visually looked really good. I was like, I like that. I like the purple around the stuff.
It's not. The director has a good eye. He's got good, thing for pacing and everything like that. But I thought that choice was a little bit too much. I don't know. But it was a good movie. I'd give it a solid 7.3.
About 0.3. It's either 7.5 or 8, bro. So
7's actually a good grade. Go ahead, nerd man.
I gave it a 6.
Nerd man, talk your shit.
I gave it a 5.56.
Yeah, because you give Ant-Man what, 8?
No, yeah, I actually did give Ant-Man an
8. Are you ever going to give up on that one? Can you just admit that movie's kind of?
But you see, the thing with Ant-Man is
time, and then you watched it.
Hold on, maybe I say it again, and I'll say it forever. Some of the jokes in Ant-Man I liked, and Kang takes over that whole movie. So that's the reason why I give it an 8. I watch a movie just for fucking Kang.
It's a brother thing. I can respect that. It's a brother thing. It's like
it's a brother thing. I'll admit that it's a brother thing.
All right, I respect that. Okay, I can see where you're coming from now. Like that, I can understand, but like the movie's trash.
It's not trash.
Wait, which one?
He's on my Ant-Man.
Oh yeah, it. Listen, yeah, Major is amazing in it, but outside of that, it's trash.
Look, Xolo Mariduena is a better lead than Paul Rudd in Ant-Man 3. The whole family cast is better than the whole cast of Ant-Man 3. Now,
the whole family,
Jonathan Majors is a better actor as a villain than both of the villain actors in this movie. But the villains, to me, were more effective for the plot and story of Blue Beetle. Ant-Man 3. They made Kang a chump.
There is nothing. There is nothing in, and this is why you're smiling, because you know you're talking dookie.
No, I'm talking the truth.
That's why you're smiling. But there is nothing in Blue Beetle, nothing that can compare to anything Jonathan Majors. Anytime Jonathan Majors was on the screen, it's better than anything in.
But Jonathan Majors is the only good thing about Ant-Man 3. His acting is. That's the thing. Jonathan Majors is the only good thing about Ant-Man 3. Anytime he was on the screen, take any performance he had. He's just sitting there fucking when he first meets up with what's her name? The woman. Anyways, when he first meets up with her, anything, huh?
Michelle.
Yeah. When he meets up with her the first time, he saves him, and he's lying on the ground. Anything that showed Jonathan Majors in Ant-Man 3 is better than everything in Blue Beetle. Everything.
See, Anzo, now you're taking it too far. I was on your side for a little bit. Now you're taking it too far.
Facts. Jonathan Majors blows that movie. If it's not him, somebody else, that movie isn't. You're right. It's not as good. I'll say that it's not as good. But him being in there, he was amazing in that movie.
This is how they disrespecting my man Jonathan
Can you
Majors
agree that it's better
in
than every
MCU.
Spider-Man?
Oh my God.
Hey, look at them disrespecting my boy. I see. They let the brother get sworn by ants.
But the ants
didn't
kill him though. The ants didn't kill him though because
But
he comes
they
back
jumped his ass though.
and he beats the fucking shit.
I mean, do we know that they're racist? So the ants.
Stop it. He beats the shit out of Scott Lang. So stop.
Oh, he beat the shit out of Scott Lang. What a
See,
fucking
look at them ants. Look at
he beat the shit out of the guy like who works at a donut shop. What the fuck, bro? Come on, man.
He's a fucking Avenger. Like, say what you want to.
Scott is a trash man. Scott's a trash man.
Wait, he's a trash man, but didn't he beat Falcon?
Because Falcon can't fight. We know Falcon can barely fight. Right? Falcon barely fight.
He beat Falcon. There you go.
I ain't nothing, bro.
He couldn't beat Black Widow. Black Widow shot him with a little stunt thing. She knocked him out. He couldn't beat Black Widow.
Who else did he beat?
He needed orange slices at the end, bro.
He got people. What are we talking about?
He got worked, bro. Come on, man.
Who got worked?
Out Ant-Man.
Huh?
Cole could take out Ant-Man on a good.
Well, Falcon didn't.
We know Falcon can't fight though. He be struggling.
The ants did not get him off screen. Now, if we had flipped the script and went to another scene where fucking Kang was lying on the ground all beat up and shit, then I'd be like, yeah, the ants beat him. But that's not what happened.
His suit was torn up. They fucked up his suit.
That's just bad. He still lost to Scott.
So first off,
lost the fight to the ants, bro.
So hold on. First off, let me explain this. Do you guys know how powerful ants are?
Yeah, no, they're super powerful. They're like,
strong ants are, right?
No, but
now you have
ants that are technically advanced and fucking huge, right? We're not talking about little fucking ants, and you had millions of them. Okay, of course they're gonna get the better of him, but he got away.
With Thor beaten up by them.
Kang was in a universe. He was in many universes where he fought Thors that was probably just as strong as this Thor doing this. And mind you, this Thor right here would have killed all them ants, just like he did with these little Chitauri soldiers. One slam from that hammer, boom, all them ants is dead. All of them are dead.
So first off,
he was killing a bunch of Thors throughout the universe.
Well, now you have that scene, right, where he actually fucking sees the ants coming, right? Kang was holding his own until fucking MODOK broke his shield.
See, and that's the thing. He had that weak tech. He got got by MODOK. He got by MODOK. He got that weak tech. Blue Beetle got that good tech.
No, he didn't.
He got that alien tech.
I was saying the ants got off screen.
Oh yeah, the ants got off screen. Yeah, you're right. 100%. Listen to Perp coming in with some facts. Go ahead, Perp.
Kang did not lose by no ants, bro.
Thank you.
You need to just stop. You need to just stop that, bro.
Thank
you. Know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, you know what? All right, then we don't even need to run with that. He still lost to Scott Lang. He lost.
How did he lose?
He got beat up.
No,
the nigga was on the ground. The nigga was on the ground. He was fucking his bloody lip busted. He was lucky that what's his face? Hope was there because he needed that shit. He needed that shit.
He got outsmarted. He lost this battle. He lost this whole battle to Scott Lang.
No, he did not.
He lost this battle to Scott Lang.
And ants. Okay.
No, he did not.
Okay. So are you?
That's why now Ant-Man's gonna. That's why Ant-Man's gonna have PTSD.
Are you telling me that Thor would get beaten by ants, Hope, and Scott Lang?
But where do you get Thor from?
Would Thor even have like his uniform like fucked up by ants? Nope. Even that. Like even to get like
you're comparing he's a god, bro.
Yes, and this dude
you're comparing a god to ants.
He said he beat many Thors. He said he beat them throughout the universe, so much so that he's forgotten
Scarlet Witches.
Which Avengers were which?
So here's the thing.
They were so
We don't
easy.
know how he beat them. He have this tech, right? But we can't sit here and say, because you don't know it, that Thor wouldn't have got bodied by ants.
And that's what I'm saying. And at that point, he probably had full control of his powers. And where this Kang lost some of his power, he had to get his chair back and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's even more terrifying. That he's not even at his full strength, and he was giving Ant-Man the business like that.
No, but he had 30 years. He was making his army and stuff. And mind you, he had the ability to literally freeze people in time. He didn't do none of that in this movie, aside from one time when he froze Hope's mom in time. He had all these powers and didn't use them. I get he didn't have the chair, but still without the chair, he was a formidable threat. He just needed the chair to time travel. That's all he needed the chair for. But still, he got wrecked by Scott, Hope, and them ants. Shouts out
Who did he get? How did Scott wreck him, bro? Scott was on the ground getting his ass stomped.
Hope all foiled his plans. He lost.
You know why K-Dot won't show the scene, right? You know why K-Dot won't show the scene, right?
I'll show him.
Oh man, y'all crazy, bro.
Look at this. His plans getting foiled. Look at that.
Did he really get foiled? Because he got thrown into a multiversal core. That does not mean you're going to die.
Show where he's bodying
battle. This battle, he lost it. Look at that. He's punching into the thing, and he lost that. Look, Scott literally beat him.
No.
He literally beat him.
K-Dot, you're full of shit.
It's right there. Look.
Y'all fall for the easiest trick in the book, bro.
You know what I mean?
He lost his battle. He didn't die, but he lost his battle for sure.
He lost.
He has the even Ant-Man himself. Scott was doubting himself. He's like, did I really beat him, or is he really gone?
But he said, no matter if he died,
he put that fear in him. He put that fear in him.
And he shouldn't.
No, he did not.
K-Dot, stop it. Go back to where Ant-Man and Kang are actually fighting.
Don't let these MCU heathens.
I'll play it.
Keep going.
Look, bang.
Keep going. No, keep going. Go back
bang.
to that fight.
So when this Kang comes back in the end of Kang Dynasty and wipes out all those other Kangs, says, "I'm back, bitch." Y'all gonna be salty.
I mean, I don't think he can. He can barely deal with.
Bro, he got sucked into a multiversal core. That's just another portal for him to go through.
His force field got destroyed by MODOK. This is the thing. His force field got destroyed by MODOK. He made MODOK's tech, and he got defeated by MODOK.
Don't pause it there. Don't pause it there.
Oh my god.
Hey, don't pause it there. Don't pause it there. Don't give him any ammunition.
No, I mean, this isn't even ammunition. He still loses the battle overall.
And remember, his suit's not working right now. And he is fucking bodying fucking
just off of pure strength. He's fucking Scott up, yo. Like he just fucking up pure strength.
That's impressive.
That's
what that is, bro. We ain't never see Ant-Man get his ass whooped like that.
And then Scott comes in. Go on.
Yes, I get sucked into a multiversal core. I will be back.
See, if he was in DC, we wouldn't let Jonathan Majors get beat up like that. He would have been beating up people. Like he would have came in there like Thanos in Infinity War.
He did.
Up Thor like a baby and messing up Hulk.
He did.
Y'all go to see how this shit gonna play out because this is a part of his character. He always think they defeat him, but then he always comes back.
But he lost his battle, though. He lost this battle right
How'd he lose?
The war's still there, but he lost this battle right here for sure.
So he loses if he comes back as this whatever. If they go with that whole Beyond Your Kang thing, whatnot, and he just wipes out all the Kangs and just starts destroying everybody, then he loses. He still loses.
Let me tell you something.
Because I guarantee you that's what they're doing.
No. Well, if that's the case, that means he with the power he has as is. Then how did he kill all these other universes with the power as is?
Hold on, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you how. I'm gonna tell you how. Because in the movie, he says he's seen the future. So if he's seen the future, if he knew the outcome of the way the world dies and everything, if he could see that, he knew what was going to happen during this time. He knew this was going to happen. And it's probably because he needed to get pushed into that realm.
But he did not want that to happen right there. He did not want this to happen.
Yo, see how these people
look, he wants
why didn't he just jump into it then?
Because he did not want this to happen. They came and foiled his plan right here.
Why didn't he just jump in? Why didn't he just jump in, bro? If he wanted to do that, like he could see the future and knows he has to go into there in order to win. Why didn't he just jump in there? And what are you gonna say when the Avengers defeat him? That he knew the future of like the Avengers were gonna. Oh, come on, bro.
Who's to say how he can be defeated? Like I'm saying, like there's always another Kang and stuff, but this Kang will come back. Like him getting thrown into a multiversal core does not mean he's dead. That just means he got another fucking way to access the multiverse to get the fuck out of the quantum verse. I don't understand how nobody can see that.
But he lost his battle for sure.
Let's talk about
he actually lost his battle. He didn't lose the war. The war's still going on, but he lost his battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Kang has to.
They lost because now Ant-Man didn't defeat. He got out of the quantumverse. Ant-Man lost.
Right. It may look like Kang lost, and that's what Ant-Man says at the end. Did I really win? He said that he was gonna come back. He said it's not right. So that's exactly what they're trying to hint to in this movie.
But all right, look at it like this. Look at it like this.
You guys just skip the hints.
Look at it like this.
Story, bro. So he lost to the ants on
a random person comes up to you on the street. They start a fight with you. You beat them up. In that moment, you knock them unconscious and stuff. In that moment, you beat them up. Now, if they come back and fight you, now you got to fight them again. But if you beat them again, you beat them in that moment. If y'all keep fighting, it's clear y'all wars are going on. But at the end of the day, you still keep winning each battle you have encountered this person with. And that's the same thing here with Scott and Kang. Scott won this battle. Yes, he got beat up.
I can't wait for Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars so people get to speak wrong, like because it's just like this argument is so stupid. It's really dumb.
And you know what, Terrence? Maybe that's what they're gonna do in this universe. Maybe the only way he can be defeated is by him younger self.
Man, just get them
or a future version of him, right? Maybe it's the one. What was his name in Loki? No, what was his name in Loki?
Oh, One Above All.
No, it was
the one who came before.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
He who remains.
Maybe it's he who comes back and stops Kang.
By the way,
because like I said, who's to say that Kang that got sucked into that multiversal core isn't that same Kang in Loki? Because there's two different timelines going on.
That too, right?
I'm not saying
that's what I'm saying. I was like, how did he lose?
He lost that battle. He lost that battle they was having here. He lost it. His motivation to get through that portal and do his thing, he failed that.
Now, somebody like Thanos, that is a definitive loss. Like they snapped him out of existence. That's a definitive loss.
Facts.
Where you have to sit there and question if I beat this dude or not, then that means you did not beat him.
But
all right. By the way,
Thanos did win when he snapped the universe. He won that that little battle of trying to snap the universe and stuff. He won that. In the end game of his whole war, he did lose. But in Infinity War, he won. In Endgame, he lost. He still had a W. Just like Scott got his W. Shouts out Scott and the Ants. They got their W.
You see, but that's the thing.
By the way.
I actually agree with you, Kadon. But what me and Perp are saying is that it was probably meant to be that way. So for Kang, it may look like it was a victory for Scott and them, but when we see future movies, we'll find out it wasn't really a victory.
Because even Kevin Feige has confirmed like this is the main Kang, like that's the main Kang, like he doesn't got all his powers yet.
Oh, all right.
He's already he hasn't got all his powers, but he's able to defeat all. This is the thing. He's able to defeat all the Avengers. If he hadn't have said that, then this wouldn't even be a discussion.
But obviously, he was more. No, I'm saying when he fought against those Avengers. When he fought against the Avengers, obviously he was tapped in fully into his powers. But when he was in the quantum realm, he didn't have access to a lot of it.
You
said
what?
He had access to was his chair, but he's scared of time travel. That's the only thing.
But also it has other abilities though too. But you know what I'm saying. But
anyways, Perp, it's good to hear from you again. Like it's been too long, man. But yeah, look. Going back to, you want to continue with this argument because we disagree basically.
Oh wait.
Even though me and K-Dots are right.
Merman, hold that real quick. Rest in peace to Ron Safas. He passed away like 4 minutes ago.
Oh damn!
The news of his passing happened. You know, this is literally 4 minutes ago.
Oh really? I thought he died a while ago. Right? Maybe it was that he got cancer because he was supposed to originally be the wizard in Shazam. So I thought.
He's a good actor. He's a solid actor, by the way. Dude's good.
Yeah, he's popping up in a lot of different shows and whatnot.
Yeah,
he's better than all the MCU actors. It's true.
But yeah, Blue Beetle.
He's not better than Sam Jackson. He's not better than Sam Jackson.
Yeah, right. He was good in Mr. Robot.
What were you gonna say about Blue Beetle, Pep?
Blue Beetle was dope. You know, I'm gonna go see it again in IMAX tonight. Hopefully I can get a poster. If not, I'll be upset. But yeah, for what it is, it's just like, you know, I think a lot of people are going to just use the fact that like, oh, it's underperforming in the box office, so it's not a good movie argument and shit. And I hate that shit so much, but it is what it is.
But it's not even the movie's fault at the end of the day. For, you know, mind you, it's part.
Yeah, it's Warner Brothers.
It's part of bad baggage. It's also they couldn't even promote it like you traditionally promote a movie. The actors lay on strike. They didn't even do a red carpet. Well, they did a red carpet, but it was like a bootleg.
I don't think that would have made any difference, to be honest.
I'm not saying it would have made it different, but this movie did not have the typical means
rollout
to you know, for any film to do good. And also, it's a little thing, but school just started back, so see, you know, it's no guarantee all these kids going to the theaters and stuff for their parents' opening weekend.
Look, my boy J-Man coming in with some facts.
K-Dots, you have to realize this is a DC Warner Brothers branding problem now. They fucked themselves, and it's gonna hurt for a long time. They're in a world of hurt for their superhero movies for a long time. I hope.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I think once Aquaman 2 is out the way, the DCU's gone and it's dead. And once Aquaman 2 is out the way,
no, I know, but I'm saying I hope it doesn't carry over to the DCU.
To be honest with you, though,
I'm not sure that that's going to be the case, bro.
It might. There's a chance it could do, but I don't believe it's going to fully transition over.
I think but to be honest with you, I don't think it's just a superhero movie. I think it's just movies in general. Mission Impossible didn't do well. It's going to lose money. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's just.
But it's funny that you don't hear nobody say, "Oh, Mission Impossible's flopping." They don't make a bunch of videos about that.
Yeah, of course they don't, right? Because for them, it kind of kills. Yeah, and it kills their narrative, right? Because remember when Top Gun 2 came out? Oh, Top Gun 2, it's beating all these superheroes, blah 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 blah, right? But then Mission Impossible 2 comes out, which people said it's going to make $1 billion, it's going to be so, and it didn't do well at all. So for me, I don't think it's just superhero movies. I think it's just people are really selective of which movies they want to go see now.
They gotta, and I think just based on if they're smart, they'll look at like what Barbenheimer did and just spacing out, doing a better job of just spacing out these movies a little bit better.
Right. That's what they have to do. Because if you have people that have to pick, right, things are getting so fucking expensive now. I talked about this on the OOC now. The cost of living is unbelievable, right? So if you have a family of fucking you, a wife, maybe 2 kids, 1 kid or whatever.
It's like $100.
Right, to go to a movie every weekend or anytime a movie.
I just told you the tickets I got for TMNT just for 3 adults, 3 people, $62.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So imagine having to go see Barbie, Oppenheimer, Blue Beetle, whatever else is coming out. You know what I mean? Like people aren't really going to be going that. They're going to be selective with the movies that they see now.
Like Ninja Turtles is a great fucking. I seen that shit 4 times in theaters. I was just like, yo, it's that good. But like,
realize they're not going to see DC movies.
What's that?
They are not going to see DC movies. Like,
well, I again,
maybe other than if it's a Batman related movie,
right.
Maybe then, but like other than that, they are not seeing DC movies, bro.
Right, but that's because I believe.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to be seeing. They're not rushing to see DCEU movies. Like I said, anything that's not tied to the DCEU, people are supporting.
No, but I think that's because the only things that haven't been tied to the DCEU have been Batman movies, and Batman is different.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But you gotta look at you got even Joker did well. That didn't have any Batman in it.
Yeah, no,
but Joker related to Batman, but it had no Batman in it at all. It did, and
but Joker related unless they do an Elseworld DC movie that isn't Batman, and then it succeeds. Then I'll be like, okay, it's just a DC.
But to be honest,
I think it's DC in general.
Hold on,
because even Batman, even the Batman.
Nerdman, hold on, because it just let me say something. You guys said Joker, but Joker was before the pandemic. That's totally different. Everything has changed since COVID. Everything, you know what I mean? So you can't really use the Joker because that was a different time, right?
But, well, it still kind of helps the point a little bit because after Aquaman, that's when all the DC movies started going downhill money-wise. Wonder Woman 84, Birds of Prey, Joker came out after Birds of Prey, you know, and it made $1 billion, right? Now, I'm not saying it was Joker 2 is going to make $1 billion or whatever, but I think people would be willing to go watch Joker 2 just knowing that it's not connected no DCU nonsense. It's by itself. It's something different, self-contained. They like the first movie. Not going to say to make $1 billion, but there's going to be people turning up for Joker 2.
I think it's smart though too, like the way that they have 2024 set up. Like you got the Penguin series, I think that's going to do really well going into the Batman 2, and then just having the Joker just being the only movie, so they can kind of take a breather. And because by the time Superman comes out, people will completely forget about the DCU and like the, you know what I'm saying. I think most people will. They'll just kind of it'll be kind of like forgive and forget type of shit because people are quick to just forget about certain things. So I think it's a good kind of strategy how they're going about it so far. We'll have to wait and see, but
I also agree with you though, Perp, that they have to spread their movies out better. You know what I mean? I think that's why Marvel is not going to be making as much movies a year as they did as well, because at this point it's not sustainable, right? People can't go see all these movies in a year. You know what I mean? So you got to cut them down. And I think that's what studios are going to do. You may even see the movies stay in theaters longer as well at this point, right? You cut it down, you keep the movies in theater longer, and then you have a better chance of making more money for that movie. Yeah. But if you have Mission Impossible coming out this week, and then Barbie coming out next week, and then Oppenheimer coming out the week after that, then Blue Beetle a couple of weeks after that, it's hard for people to go see all these movies.
Yeah, and sometimes like we need more of those event things like Barbenheimer. Like it has to be the right films, obviously, and like you know what I'm saying. But studios can take more risks on that too now, because like because now what Oppenheimer's at like 700 million, almost close to $1 billion, and Barbie just got past $1 billion. So it's like something there they got right, because it's like that dominated the theaters for like a good solid month and stuff. But it's crazy like how fast shit is going to digital. Like I was just seeing the last voyage of the Demeter. That came out last week and it's already going to be on digital on the 29th. I was like, fuck, that's crazy. Yeah. I'm like, damn. And that's a solid movie too, but it's just they just gotta get better with these releases and stuff. Like August was just open. Like they could have definitely moved some of these movies around and stuff like that. Gran Turismo even like moved back like 2 weeks and stuff. And good on them because that's a solid movie as well too. But
yeah, with because I'm selective with what movies I want to watch. Mind you, these past 2 days I did Blue Beetle twice. I did Old Boy, and I'm about to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles today. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I'm gonna try and get that to possibly Sunday if I can.
Yeah, watch it on IMAX.
That's at the money right.
Yeah, man. If you get like it also like more people need to just get like AMC A list if you got AMC or just whatever movie theaters got that like that whole monthly thing, whatever. Because like being able to see 12 movies in a month for like 20 something bucks that's a steal for me. Like
I would get it, but I go through the Premier line anyways. They don't even check if you got Premier access. Oh, when I'll go to the concession, they got the Premier line at AMC, and you're supposed to be a Premier member. I used to have the that free subscription and shit, and so I don't got it no more. But I just walk through that line and go get my food. They don't even.
Bro, that's the best decision I had because they also like every time your birthday comes around, they give you like a free large popcorn and a drink and stuff. Like I let my nephew go at that shit. I was like, bro, I don't eat popcorn like that, or you know what I'm saying, I don't do concessions like that. But it's the best. It saves me so much more money than just having to come out of pocket every time. And if it's something out of pocket, like you know what I'm saying, like Coraline, I just re-seen that in theaters. I was like, yo, that shit was damn near packed too. I was like, this movie's like 14 years old.
Then they put a new scene. They put in new
scene.
Yeah,
it's like remastered and all that stuff. Yeah.
Wait, what film?
The Coraline.
Oh wow, they made like a new version of it.
Yeah, so much. It's like it's a little extra, and like they have behind the scenes stuff after the credits and all that stuff. But
I mean, can it be digitally, or is that just a theater exclusive thing?
That's just theaters. It was in theaters for like 2 days.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, do they have the extra footage online though that you can watch?
I don't know. They probably will re-release it in like 4K Blu-ray or something like that. Yeah. But that was that movie still holds up too.
Film. And the director, I was director, would make more films. He got kind of screwed over. He did the recent one though with I believe it was Key and Peele, that animated one. But
oh yeah. The Wendy and Wendell or something like that.
Yeah. The animation studio he used to do it for. He did like Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, like went out of bankrupt over one bad film. I mean, it wasn't a bad film; it was just a flop.
Yeah.
And then he tried making a live action film, and I really didn't think it was that bad, but everybody hated it, so he kind of took a break.
Yeah. But back to the whole box office thing, I was just like, they just need to pay these actors, pay these writers and shit like that, so we can get that straightened out first. And then, going back to the drawing board about how to release these films and stuff like that. And I think Marvel will be doing good with just 3 movies a year. Like one in the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end or something like that. Like this. I think that's a good, or if they want to just go back to just 2 a year, that's fine too. But
now we got to get into let me read this propaganda for Kang real quick. So as Thanos was right he said in the beginning of Ant-Man 3, when Kang crash landed in the quantum realm, he stated that his ship was sabotaged by the other Kangs because they feared him. I fear this comment is Kang propaganda. I can't support it.
Propaganda.
Kang.
They literally are scared of that motherfucker. Like,
shit, I ain't scared of that motherfucker.
And that's another thing too. At the end, when they had the Council of Kangs, like when they said like, "Oh, the Kang is dead," which Kang are they talking about? Are they talking about He Who Remains, or are they talking about that Kang the Conqueror? Because it could be either one. But
I'll be honest, I think they're talking about He Who Remains, because that he was a mastermind. He was the last one that remained. He was one mastermind and stuff. Still crazy how he didn't know about King the Conqueror, but I guess he intended that. But Zach, DC movies was making money. They was making money, but they was not being received well. It's just
making money is being received well.
No. They was making money, but they was not being received well because Transformers 4 makes money.
That's a contradiction. It doesn't
No. But like a movie like for instance, like a movie like BVS only made like what
was
like,
Mario received well?
Yeah, it made $1 billion and it got good reviews.
Yeah,
It didn't get
somehow.
good reviews.
Yes, it did.
The critics didn't like it.
Yeah.
What movie?
About the critics, bro?
That's
What movie?
Critics matter more than the shitty audience.
You don't give a shit about the critics. Doesn't the movie make money? It's that simple.
Yeah, but making money doesn't mean the movie's well received or good, though.
Look, this is the prime example I always use. Transformers 4.
Yeah,
It's the only message we have. It's
But
Transformers 4 is technically a financial success, right? It made up over $1 billion, but the film after that made less than 700 million because the ratings of these movies have been going downhill because people have been losing interest slowly from Transformers 1 to 2 to 3. 3 and 4 made $1 billion, but then you get to 5, which made less than 700 million. It was losing interest.
Yeah,
I was just gonna make the point of BVS. Like, yeah, 800 is a lot. If it was like a normal ass movie, like if it was like a Superman or Batman movie, but it's Batman and Superman. That should be easy $2 billion right there. Like easy. But
yes, we understand. We understand.
Made more
money. We understand it overperformed. Underperformed. But still, they were making money, so it doesn't matter. You should have kept track. You could have kept on track, but just improved the quality of the movies.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that.
But
rather than
all right, but see, all right. If that's the case, then the Transformers movies would have never rebooted.
No, but that's what Transformers was back from the beginning. It doesn't matter about Transformers.
But by the time it 3 and 4, $1 billion back to back. 5 made less, and they was like, "Oh, we need to reboot this shit."
Transformers didn't reboot though.
It did reboot.
Transformers, no, it did not. The new Transformers is loosely connected to the Michael Bay stuff.
No, it's
right. Exactly, it is.
It's loosely connected to the Michael Bay stuff.
It's a totally separate continuity.
I'm telling you, no, it's connected to the Michael Bay stuff. Just like
and also,
it was originally going to be. It was Bumblebee was going to be a soft reboot of some stuff,
right?
But they should change it to a complete reboot because they didn't know if it wanted to be a reboot or a soft reboot.
Bumblebee is not a complete reboot.
It is. That's not even the same Optimus Prime from the Bay movies.
Bumblebee is not a complete reboot. It's a soft
reboot. Can I just say something? Clearly, the tone of the movies, right, and what was working about those movies has been kept. They've just improved on the stories. Whether they've rebooted or they haven't rebooted, you can see that tonally there is a consistency in the thing. So basically, the fans of
consistency and trash,
whoever those crazy fans were that were like watching those really bad Transformers movies, so that they were making lots of money, they can be happy with these new movies as well.
Yeah, but this thing, Bumblebee and this made even less money than the fifth one, which came after a movie that made $1 billion that underperformed. And they're
maybe it ran its course. I don't know, but the point is, DC at the beginning they had Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, movies I don't like. I've told you about it. I don't like them, right? But they made money. And it was on an upward swing. Wonder Woman made money, made bank. So there was no need to reboot.
Wonder Woman.
They needed
actually is the only film in the Snyder era that had good rating and it made good money. That just it made back its budget.
Care about the
expectations. Because it matters if people like the movie. People liking the movie matters.
Absolutely.
You don't want to make if you're making money and people don't like the stuff that's coming out, they're eventually going to lose interest.
About the box office, all right? Shitty fucking Fast and Furious makes money. All the shit films make money.
Yes,
that matters.
So if they keep on making their money.
No. Fast X actually failed. Fast X failed.
Absolutely.
All right, look. I'm not. Look, I'm not.
That even proved my point.
I'm not trying. Look, I still think they could have. I would have liked them to have made the Shazams. I would have liked them to have made, even the Suicide Squad, all of those movies. But they could have kept it in continuity. That's all I'm saying. There was no need to like fucking explode everything, and specifically to change the tone of the movies. Because when they change the tone of the movies, they lack any unique point. They're basically MCU now. Even this Blue Beetle movie is just a little bit like MCU-ish.
Nah.
Here's the thing, Nerdman. I agree with you 100%. They should have stayed the course, but they seen a downward trajectory, right? The movies were making money and they were going down, and people were complaining.
When in the Zack Snyder, when Zack Snyder was making the movies, they weren't going down. When? Yes, they were. When did they go down? They went down in Justice League. That's when they started redoing the style of the movies. That's when it went down. It was going up.
Batman versus Superman, did it make more money or less money than Man of Steel?
It made more money than Man of Steel.
It made like 200 million more than Man of Steel.
Okay. And then Justice League came on and went down. But
right, and that was what Justice League was. That wasn't Zack Snyder's.
But the problem was that Batman versus Superman is what they were depending on to cross $1 billion. Everybody said it when it came out. This movie's going to be over $1 billion, and
I agree with that.
And that's what scared that's what scared the studios. Now, for me, and I've said it many times, the MCU's first phase, a lot of those movies weren't good, but they stayed the course. Warner Brothers should have stayed the course, made little tweaks, and then made better movies. They should have
exactly what the MCU did, right?
Yes, that's what I said.
If you look at Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, those movies weren't making that kind of money. They made like half the shit that. So the first 3 movies of DC made more. And I hate the argument. I agree. I hate the argument because you're talking about Superman, and Batman, and you're talking about Wonder Woman.
Bigger gamble.
So I get that obviously they should make more money. But the fact is they were making like close to $1 billion every time. So all they needed to do is make sure they retain the audience that is liking that stuff, while tweaking it to make it, more acceptable to other audiences. That's all they have to do.
And that's the thing. Both the critics and the fans, the reception shows engagement. The money shows engagement. What I'm saying is, films need to have both. You need to have people like the movie, and you need to be making good money. Because if you're only just making good money,
do you accept now, though? Now you've seen how they've gone on with these reviews. Do you accept now that there's a DC, there's an agenda with certain critics?
Oh, I admit it was an agenda. It's always been there.
So, do you think those critics may have affected even Zack Snyder's reviews?
Well, see, this is the thing.
I know you hate the movie, but maybe they would have hated the movie no matter what.
This is the thing. This is the thing. The Zack Snyder bias really didn't start until Man of Steel and BVS and stuff. Prior to that, I mean, no one really cared about Zack Snyder. He was putting out some shit.
As soon as the MCU came out, it became a MCU versus DC, and there was not critics, it's these influencers who happen to get themselves onto Rotten Tomatoes.
I was saying the bigger thing is it became a Marvel versus DC thing at that point. A bigger Marvel versus DC situation. When people found out DC was doing the universe, like, whoa, now they're going to compete. And since he was already on the Marvel train, they're going to like it more. They're going to like it more. And then when DC, but I think when BVS came out, there was bigger expectations. It was also DC, and people just expected so much more from BVS, which is not wrong to have those expectations, because I had way more expectations. Civil War, while it was good, I don't give a fuck some Civil War. BVS, I got bigger expectations for that. I was more excited for BVS.
I think the biggest problem was people were expecting it to be like the MCU. And when it was a darker tone, people got turned off from that. That's what I believe.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think that is definitely part of it, but I also just think the movie.
When you say people,
writing wise,
sure you know
really
it was
not that good enough to
because
keep
there
people
was
engaged.
800 million worth of people who actually like the dark tone. So
That's the thing with the
movie.
That's the thing with the money, right?
You think
I vehemently hate, and I will defend it on this. There were people who clearly like Man of Steel. So you don't give up on a franchise that is working for people.
Yes, but not everybody though. Not everybody liked it though, and I think the majority.
As long as there's 100 million worth of people who like it,
the majority hated it more than liked it.
Do you understand this? Right? If you have a shop, right, and you're selling something that the majority of people hate, right, but you have like a core base of people who love your product, right? Do you just cancel that product
if it's not beneficial?
When your product is profitable.
If it's not beneficial to you, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
If you're only selling, let's say you're only selling one product, right? And a majority of the people don't like that product, and you know you have another product in the background that more people would like, 100% you're going to cut off the minority and go for the majority. 100%.
It's like,
wait.
Look at it like
I don't think you understood I don't think you understood my analogy.
I did.
Okay. Every product, there are going to be people who don't like it no matter what. In any product you have, right? If you have enough people, like millions of people, but billions don't like it. I'm not talking about like, oh, you've got like you're making a small profit. I'm talking about you're making a massive profit.
But anytime you can make more money, anytime you can make more money by tweaking it, you will do
have they made more money?
What?
Have they made more money by tweaking it?
No, but who's to say they wouldn't have made the same amount if they didn't do anything though?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would have been doing it like this.
You don't
look at it like this. Look at it like this.
But you don't know. You got to understand, these movie companies have guys that are running around doing research on the way people are thinking, what movies they're going to see, what they're going to like, and all this stuff. And it may not always be accurate. But if they come up with a conclusion that these DC movies from Zack Snyder, and money is going to be less and less and less, and we're going to be paying out more money.
I didn't say they should
more money.
Did I say they should
more money to create them? More money for this.
I didn't say they should stick with Zack Snyder. I said they should stick with their unique selling point, right, of having a darker, more mature universe. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm not arguing with on 100%. They should have stuck with what they were doing instead of trying to copy what the MCU was doing. 100%. But my point is,
they lost their unique selling point.
But hold on.
Because Suicide Squad made money as well.
As a business standpoint, if you realize that it's not working and the people are, you can either keep going what you're doing and lose money, or you can tweak it to try to get more people involved. You're going to tweak it to get more people involved.
Yeah, because they didn't tweak it. They didn't tweak it, bro. They completely changed it.
Right. That's what I mean. They changed it, whatever. They changed it. Now, let's say Superman Legacy comes out and it blows it out the fucking water, right? Makes $1 billion. Let's say it comes even close to $1 billion.
It won't undo the damage.
Okay, I'm just saying. Let's just say it does.
It won't undo the damage of the last how many movies?
But if it does, in their eyes, in the business,
it would have to make
they made the right choice.
It would have to make 6 or 7 billion for them to recover the money they've lost. It is literally, they are fucked in terms of their superhero movies. They're lucky they have.
I mean, Barbie.
I'm not expecting this one movie to make fucking $1 billion to put them out of the blue, right? To take them out of whatever financial. They're not expecting that.
Barbie just literally did $1 billion for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm saying they're lucky they have Barbie because their superhero shit ain't kicking off. Nobody's watching.
But that's why they got to do something new.
Different, exactly.
It's too many.
Now they have to.
Long. Yeah, but
they made a mistake. I'm saying now they have to. Of course, there's no. You can't go back now.
Right. It's been too long to even do that plan. It's trying to.
They needed to execute what they were doing then, but do it better. That's all I'm saying. And you're going on like I'm I'm not saying bring Zach back or Zach they should have had Zach, keep him on, but be more selective about his projects, make sure his scripts are better, and then had other people also directing movies that were again more mature, less of the stupid comedy like in like the whatever comedy that the MCU is doing. Yeah, they could have had a couple of comedy characters. Shazam obviously leans into the childhood and all of that. They could have had a couple here and there, but they should have kept the main universe as it was.
Nobody is arguing that, Nerdman. You are 100%. I said that all the time. But what we're trying to explain to you, what Mikael is trying to explain to you, as a business standpoint, if you can do something better, because if you can see the writing on the wall where people aren't really invested in this universe, right? They're not invested in the universe. Well, we got to switch up the universe and try to make it better. Now, I would have went the tweaking it part, but what they decided to do is the reboot part, right?
Overall, which they shouldn't have.
I
even said back in 2017
a long time ago, bro. It's not. Don't think that the reboot is this DCU. The reboot the reboot started with them changing the Justice League and even Suicide Squad.
But that wasn't the reboot. That was the tweak. No, those
that was a soft reboot. That was a soft reboot.
That was a fucking reboot, bro.
They canceled
the story. They canceled the fucking main story. That was the main story was supposed to be Darkseid is coming and he's gonna, and the Justice League are gonna have to fight.
We don't know if that was.
As soon as you cancel that story, that's it. But
they didn't cancel the story.
How
are you talking about?
They just changed some things around. That was the
story because Stephen was still doing what he was doing for Darkseid. All the boxes.
No, you only know that because of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No, we know that because he says it. He says for Darkseid in the movie.
He did.
In which one? In which version?
In Justice League.
2017.
Yes, in Justice League. There's at one point where he gets the box. There's one point where he gets the box or something like that, and he says for Darkseid. They didn't take that.
Sure, but that they were never planning to then continue on that Darkseid storyline.
How do you know that?
Because they were going to do Crisis on Infinite Earths instead.
No, that was when Walter Hamada.
That is when Walter Hamada came on, and that is and they were going to do that.
That doesn't mean it wasn't going to do Darkseid. That was like down the line. But no, after the Flash reboot, they wanted to do that.
Right.
I can't even bother to argue. They changed the story of the DCU.
No, they didn't.
The story of the DCU was going in one direction with a kind of tone, right? That was a little bit more serious, and they flipped up the directions because of one fucking movie.
The only thing they changed was the tone. That was it. They still kept the same fucking plan, right? They were still doing it for Darkseid. That's what it is. He was gathering the mother box.
When did Darkseid get mentioned in any movie after a Batman v Superman?
When does Thanos get mentioned anytime after his movie?
They mentioned Thanos a lot. He was mentioned in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was mentioned in the first Avengers. He was mentioned in what else was he? There's a couple of movies. He was mentioned in a few movies.
They may have had movies
where it was referenced, bro.
No, in Iron Man 3, they never mentioned him. I'm trying to think of what Phase 2 movies came out. They didn't ever mention him. The only time we really got to mention him was like in the end credit scene.
At least they had him in Guardians.
Yeah, that's true. The only time he was in like the narrative of the movie.
Okay,
was
Guardians did they not have the Mind Stone? Did they not have the Mind Stone Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
Right. So did they not carry over talking about the stones in like lots of different?
You can say the same thing about this scene here because Steppenwolf is connected directly to Darkseid.
Where was the connective tissue? Where was the connective tissue in any DC movie after BVS? And Zack Snyder's Justice League doesn't count.
I mean, it's not even connected to it's not even connected.
Yeah, it's not connected, right? So where was the connective tissue? Where was the story?
There's connective tissues and Aquaman.
I mean, it was like they wasn't mentioning Darkseid. I'm not gonna act like they was, but it's clear they was trying to. Yeah, it was still connected. It's clear they were still trying to rebuild again and take it, slow with the solo
in
stuff.
A different direction.
I mean, they even mentioned Steppenwolf in Aquaman 1. They literally mentioned Steppenwolf.
They said we've defeated him.
That's they mentioned him.
Connective tissue stuff.
That's not connective tissue. I'm talking about stuff going forward. What the story is going to be. Why do people have to keep coming back and watching these movies?
Okay,
so where's it going? Where's it going? It's going nowhere.
Here's where I'm going to destroy your thing. Black Panther. Where's the connective tissue in that movie? To anything that happens after, where's the connective tissue in that movie? There is none.
Black Panther.
Yes.
There's no
No, there's not. There's not.
I'm sure there is.
There's not.
It doesn't. It like Black Panther 1 is so like self-contained. It has nothing to really do with Infinity War. It doesn't really like segue into it or like tease it. At most, you just see Bucky in a post-credit scene, but that's not within the narrative of the movie. That's the post-credit scene.
So, like, let's not act like Marvel. Every single movie that Marvel has, there's some sort of Eternals had no connection to anything that's going on so far yet.
I mean, actually, other things are not connecting to Eternals.
You're arguing for the sake of arguing, and you're leading astray. K-Dots. It's ridiculous what you're saying right now. We know for a fact that Walter Hamada had some kind of bright idea that he's going to lead towards some crisis on Infinite Earth kind of thing, but he wasn't. They didn't want to commit to it, but that was what he was leading to.
Well, no, we have to remember.
Remember,
they was also going to do New Gods. Remember that they was going to do New Gods. So it's clear that they
canceled it.
But that was wait. What year did it get canceled? Because I swear that's when the regime change happened again.
Yeah.
With Discovery getting ready to buy them out.
Yes, that's exactly what happened when Discovery started to buy them out.
And my point still stands. I'm saying that storyline should have been referenced, right, a little bit more in all the movies. And they should have
April 2021, Nerdman. That's when Discovery started transitioning over stuff and
whatever. Still, I don't think that movie was coming out. It was in development hell.
Okay, but you don't think, but you don't know that, right? You can say you don't think, but you don't know that. That's your opinion.
To be honest,
I wouldn't say it that way.
Unconnected, self-contained superhero trilogies and franchises like the Dark Knight trilogy era. Their shared universe experiment didn't hit. Leave that stuff to Marvel. I don't believe that at all.
I think DC can do it, but I would have been totally fine with a Hal Jordan trilogy, a Blue Beetle getting a trilogy, Wonder Woman getting a trilogy. Like I'd rather have 3 dope ass fucking movies that last for years to come that really mean something than a big connected universe. Not saying the MCU.
I absolutely agree. I
can go both ways with it, but I'd rather have just dope ass fucking trilogies or good one-off movies. I can still go back and rewatch that stuff.
Here's the problem: they won't let you live like these fan base. They won't let you live doing that shit. Like I want that. I prefer that. I prefer movies like the Batman.
Blue Beetle's first time in a live action series is.
Go ahead, nerd man. Sorry.
No, I prefer films like the Batman. I prefer films like Superman 1 and the Batman Returns or Watchmen and all of those movies I prefer. But I don't think they're gonna hit as big as a or shared universe. It's just the way.
Let me add.
Change the way people watch superhero movies. I hate it. I despise it with all my. I don't think the MCU. I think the MCU suffered because of it. I don't think the quality of the MCU has been as good as it could be because it's stuck having to have this whole big connected thing.
Well, I think that Nerman, like these 2 people I'm about to show you right here, the short clips, prime example of what I do agree with you. Like the audience. Well, I more so blame these superhero movies in general and the expectations they created, and also the fan bases too for like not being fair with these movies, and just listen to this real quick because we talked about this on my stream the other day with Cole.
What in the hell was that? What was the point of a Blue Beetle movie if we were just going to get the same shit we've been seeing for the past 10 years?
All right, y'all. So I just got back from watching Shazam 2. Or sorry, I meant Blue Beetle. They're the same movie. But anyways, Blue Beetle is absolutely mid. This film on a storytelling level and writing level is the most cliche, generic garbage that I have seen in the superhero genre. The story and the purpose, speaking of purpose, the story of this movie is for Jaime to learn his purpose to be a hero. The same thing that every other superhero movie in existence has taught us.
That's the shit I'm talking about. Now they're criticizing these movies for being what they're trying to be, a comic movie, or like that's what I'm talking. Did he just never mind my audio.
Sorry.
Shit. But my point is, he just literally criticized a superhero movie with a superhero trying to find his purpose of why he wants to be a superhero, which every superhero goes through. Like that's superhero 101. We want to see their purpose of why they want to be a superhero. Like what the fuck? And like I said, if people don't like the movie, that's fine. But the criticisms of some of these movies and stuff, the way people criticize in movies and these superhero movies and stuff, it's
no. I agree with you completely in what you were saying. Sorry, I got cut off there, but here's the thing.
You see my point. Like the way people are criticizing it. Like, how do you criticize a superhero movie for showing a superhero trying to find a purpose as a superhero when every superhero thing, comics, movies, even not just DC superheroes, they all show heroes trying to find their purpose in life of why they want to be a hero.
Here's my analogy. Oppenheimer is a masterpiece, right? It's a fucking masterpiece. It's one of the greatest films I've ever seen in my life. I know I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
I'm gonna try and watch it Sunday. I'm rewatching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie and
okay, whatever. Really, really fantastic movie. I don't expect from now on every movie that is good to be at the level of Oppenheimer. Just because Oppenheimer came out doesn't mean every movie like that has to be Oppenheimer. Some can just be enjoyable movies. Some can just be, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like
because
people see some movie like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is an animated movie first of all, so has way more ability to do things that live action superheroes movies cannot without costing $500 million fucking dollars, right? So they see that movie and like that they lose their fucking minds, and it's like, oh, every movie has to be that fucking, like it doesn't all have to be like that. There can be differences. There can be,
they all can't be like that, because I was talking about this with Cole on my stream. Yes, it would have been cool if Blue Beetle was innovative. It would have been totally cool if it was a genre-defining comic book movie, just like The Dark Knight. That would have been cool to have. But I care more if it's good, because for something to be innovative, it can't happen all the time. For if everything is innovative, then the word innovative means nothing. The word innovative at that point ceases to exist if everything's innovative. If everybody is rich, then what does rich even mean? You know,
right. And you have to take steps towards that. Blue Beetle is a new character. You have to introduce that character, get invested in that character, and then when you have that investment and people are paying lots of money to watch them, then they can spend a lot of money on Blue Beetle, and they can spend a lot of money on Shazam, so that you can truly make an epic fucking genre bending fucking movie. You have to give these characters time. That's exactly what we did with the MCU, dude. It's like you give them time. But critics have poisoned superhero comic book fans' minds so that they've become ashamed of being comic book movie fans. So they want every movie to be like some genre bending, defining, crazy fucking movie so that they can, prove that comic book movies are like this, equal to every other. It's just again, I'm not saying make mediocre trash, but if you make a good movie, right, it's fine. That's again, maybe in future they will do that Blue Beetle movie that is a crazy fucking movie. But you can't do that in the first fucking when you're introducing a character. You can't do that. Like a lot of the time, you can't do that. Batman, it's taken years to get to the Dark Knight or the Batmans of before it was just basic comic book movie, right? The original Batman, 89.
And that was out of circumstances of them having to revive Batman in live action, because Batman and Robin and Forever fucked that shit up, But hey, Nolan, they got a good director and he came and made some masterpiece stuff. But real quick, because I do want to get to Old Boy. We do gotta talk about that. I only got like 20 minutes left. John Wick 4. I love John Wick 4. I think the movie's amazing. But I'll be honest with you, it doesn't do anything genre defining. It does have better action sequences than most Hollywood films. Good one take action sequences with barely any cuts. Like most Hollywood movies don't know how to cut fight sequences. But John Wick, it was good in that regard. Same basic action movie plot, story and stuff. Character out there for revenge. He does his one-liners. Still a good movie though. Not genre defining, still a good movie.
It's only with superhero movies and the fans of superhero movies, mainly because as I said, there's this little bit of shame because critics try and shame superhero movies, and also because there's this war betwixt, like different brands. Like you have to hate on DC, or you have to hate on MC, whatever it is. It's only because of that we're like overly criticizing just movies that were designed just to be fun family movies. It's not, they weren't designed to be anything more than that. And you can't get to across the Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, you can't get to the Batman without doing years and years of investment in those characters so that those movies become something. Think about it. If Across the Spider-Verse just like popped out of nowhere, it still would have been a good movie, but you wouldn't have had half of the feeling that you get for that movie, because you would have never seen a Spider-Man movie before. So who would have cared? There's millions of Spider-Man.
If you didn't have like them doing, building up kind of the Spider-Verse stuff before, in like the 90s animated show, or the comics in between, and No Way Home, you wouldn't have this like love and hype for all this stuff that's all coming with it all together. If Across the Spider-Verse was the first Spider-Man movie, now there are people that, it's the first time seeing it, people gonna gas it up like, oh my gosh, such a great Spider-Man movie. Yeah. But that movie only works because of what came before and all the comics and stuff that was able to make that thing.
Same with the Batman. That film only works because you've seen all these different iterations of Batman, and to see now a Batman who isn't like this millionaire playboy kind of thing, who's not as he's more troubled and more not as skilled or whatever, and to see him go through as a detective this story, it only works off the back of all of these Batman films that have come out before. So I just think it's impossible to just throw in like, oh, let's just do a Blue Beetle movie or a Shazam movie or like a Wonder Woman movie that is just like crazy genre bending stuff. You can't do that because it won't work unless you establish those characters. So these guys can go fuck themselves. They're talking absolute shit.
All right, guys, real quick, we do got to get the Old Boy. I got to talk about that real quick before I get off here because I got to get ready.
I ain't see it, so peace out, guys.
Anzo, go watch it in theaters. It's in theaters right now. This shit's remastered. Go watch it. This is fucking good.
I watch it online. I ain't planning to go see it.
Or go watch it online at least. It's good. It's a great movie. Go watch it.
Unlike that Spike Lee trash.
I like the Spike Lee one, but peace out, guys.
Spike Lee one was good.
Yeah, thank you, Nerd Man. See, we agree on something.
What?
It wasn't terrible.
It's that Spike Lee bias, man.
Fucking poorly made film and it shits on everything.
Well, that Old Boy is one of Spike Lee's weak. Well, compared to the original, the Spike Lee Old Boy is crap. But
okay, I'll give you that.
It literally pisses on everything about the original that made it good, and it's not even a well-made film or anything. It's
I think
let's make this clear. He based it more on the comic. That's what he did. So Spike Lee was like, okay, how can I do something different with this? So he went to the actual comic, according to him, and according to like what I've read about the film. And now I need to read the comic because I suspect the comic's way better than the Spike Lee film. But according to him, that's how he differentiates. That's where the differences come from in the movie, and the different ways he took it is that he went to the comic book.
Real quick, because I don't want to get too deep into comparing them and shitting on the new one. But I will say this, and this is why I like the original better, obviously. When the characters, when the hypnosis happens on our character Daisu, and he comes out of that box right on the rooftop, and mind you, this is his first time back in the world, and he walks over to the guy that's about to kill himself. Even though it's a little bit more exaggerated the way they're acting and stuff, but him like filling his face and stuff, and like, is this a real person? Am I really like back into the world? And in the Josh Brolin version, he kind of just hops out of it, chases his girl, and jumps into a fight sequence and stuff. And it's
it's just so
it doesn't really.
It's just on like a fucking field instead of like the rooftop.
It felt so westernized. It felt like
dude. All right, let me put it this way. I always like to think of those kind of films as if, what if I had never seen Old Boy, the original version, and I just watched the Spike Lee version? I think I would have liked that. I think I would have thought it was a fun film. It's only in relation to what is an absolute masterpiece. I'm sorry, that South Korean movie is it's a masterclass in everything: acting, directing, score, cinematography, like the gore of it. Everything is just original and unique. So in comparison to that, you were always gonna suffer. I don't, but I think Spike Lee did a pretty good job of retelling the story.
I don't think so at all. Like, I think it's a poorly made film, but even putting that aside, I'm sorry, he offered nothing new. It literally just made a worse version in every single aspect possible of the original. I have to take that into account. Like, what's the purpose of his film? It's a pointless retelling that does nothing.
You know, there's a part of me that agrees with it, but I just watched it. Not just watched it, but I'm just saying when I watched it, I didn't, and I even watched the beginning just before this stream because I was just like, when K Dot said it was shit, and I was like, I don't remember it being that bad. And I watched the beginning, and it's fun. There's a lot of, you know, it carries the premise quite well. It's just that everything is done so well in that South Korea. Like Josh Brolin is shit in comparison to that fucking South Korean guy, bro.
Oh, no, it's just they made everything cliche and they missed the point of everything.
This is why I say it's ultimately shit, right? Because at the end of both movies, it still had the same reveal. He fucked his daughter.
Yes, but it was done horribly in the new one.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
And they also did the ending horribly as well.
And that's the thing, just the execution. That ending where Daisu finds out he was literally tricked into having sex with his daughter because this guy was so mad that he saw him getting fresh with his sister. He's like, "Oh, you talking too much. Oh, I'm about to ruin your life." And he's over there trying to kiss this guy's foot. He's acting like a dog. He cuts off his tongue. He breaks down. And then the Josh Brolin one, he kind of falls to the ground like, oh, the movie's over.
It was trash. That's the worst part is the ending of his version.
That's the whole film. The whole film, every scene is executed like that.
Everything. The daughter is better. The villain, that villain is fucking sick in the South Korean version. He's trash in the old Spike Lee's version. As bad as I think that, because I don't think Josh Brolin is that bad in it. I think he's actually doing quite well, given that he has not like half the charisma that the South Korean guy has, but. The villain, man, that's where I really think he fucked up. He chose the wrong dude to play that villain or the wrong vibe for this guy. This guy was so sinister. That smile, that little smirk he had.
He sold it.
I really thought at one point, if that guy can speak like relatively good English, he could do the Joker. He could be the first Chinese guy to play the Joker.
I think he can.
Oh, sorry, South Korean guy.
Fucking racist.
I think he does speak English, so I think he does. Because I've seen him.
He doesn't even need the fucking you just stick the makeup on him. You don't even need to do anything to his mouth. Look at his smile.
This guy is perfect, man.
He's such a fucking dude.
But another thing I liked about this final scene here was when he walked away and he told Daisu, me and my sister knew what we was doing and I can live with it. You can't live with what you did. And then when he's going down the elevator, because it's not the drill. Remember he said he had that drill, he had that device in his body that if you click it, it's going to turn off his heart and shit. He shot himself because ultimately he couldn't come to grips with what he did. He couldn't live with the fact that his sister died because of the rumors and stuff, but he still couldn't live with it at the end of the day because his sister was still gone. And that's the thing. As a revenge story, both these people are out for revenge. And at the end of it all, our villain's revenge still meant nothing because it's not going to bring back his sister. He wasn't happy. Shot himself in the head immediately. It's such a good revenge story. This revenge story.
I mean, to me, it's up there with Fight Club in this, neo-noir kind of like, it's a very special movie. What do you think is the meaning, Cole, there? Like, what do you think it was getting at? Because it has a lot of kind of references to...
Well, again, there's a lot of meanings to it, and I didn't end up rewatching it recently, but again, there's a lot of things well done and a lot of meanings to it, and like every single like message and scene and execution in the original, the new one.
I get it. The original is better. All right.
But it's not just that it's better. No, it's not that it's just better though, Nerdman. It's just the new one literally misunderstands the entire point of why the original made every single scene.
That's what I'm trying to get at, because I've watched the movie and I'm like, I know there is like some kind of message to it, because you know when he's watching the TV inside, he's watching the TV inside of the room, right? Like he's trapped in the room.
Like for example, that one, like in the original,
I think for the most part, it's the purpose of like what people think they get out of revenge, because the whole movie was dependent on it's a revenge story, and both the people, Daisu and the villain, was out for revenge, and both of them, while getting their revenge, right? Daisu couldn't come to accept what he did. He wanted to be hypnotized again, so he doesn't have to remember the fact that he did all this. He fucked his daughter, and
that's the thing that's like makes the ending so impactful as well.
Like neither of them couldn't live with
what you just said. Is really interesting. Do you think that's why both filmmakers were comparing it to 9/11? Right, like because they I think in the original it has 9/11 like an image of what happens in 9/11, and it's
they do have a scene where they talk about world event like Princess Diana dying, other stuff. I don't remember seeing 9/11. I know what scene you're talking about. I don't remember seeing 9/11 be referenced
in the original. I thought it was in there, because I was thinking maybe that's what Spike Lee's getting at, because America went on this big revenge kind of mission after, right? And these two characters are kind of maybe I'm looking into it too deeply, but the two characters are representative of what happens when your life gets consumed with revenge, right? And ultimately it's just it's going to be self-destructive to both sides. But maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but I've always thought that it has something that I'm missing there, because I really love the movie, but I never really get.
I don't know. I've seen all the interviews Spike Lee has done and everything, though, Nerdman. It's just maybe I watched the wrong ones, but it genuinely just felt like he didn't even care what he was like making for this one. It's like he just thought of it as like a paycheck.
I thought it was a passion project of his. The
other was like Black Klansman, definitely
passion. I heard he really loved. Like he cared. I heard he really loved the South Korean movie and he really loved the comic, and that's why he did it.
I don't know. It's just in all the interviews, though, he seems like so unmotivated and doesn't really care about talking about it in comparison to like every other film he's made, like Black Klansman and such. It's just I don't know.
And I think that's the big drastic difference. Like this film feels more like there's it feels artsy and stuff, and To me, the obvious Hollywood one just feels like, all right, let's just adapt something and do this.
They just make it cliche as fuck. Yeah,
like scenes like this here. Like who would have thought to film something like this? Like just this here. Right before she died, we can take a photo.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Like that's just some interesting shit to go for. Like I would have never thought if I was director to film something like that. A girl's about to kill herself. This guy has a camera on his neck, and it's like, oh, just to remember, I'm gonna take a picture.
Yeah, I mean, all of this stuff. To be honest, I love the end of Old Boy when he's begging him to, when he's kind of begging him to basically not tell the daughter, like.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I really love that, but I'm not sure how in love with the ending. I love the body of the movie, and I didn't like seeing the villain have this conscience in the end. Like, I liked him when he was just fucking sadistic. He was so cool.
Oh yeah. Just like throughout that whole thing, it was like so insane, and then In the new one, it's just like he's just regular, just like, yep, very good. Now you understand. Now I'm gonna kill myself. It's like fucking hell.
Yeah. And the part where the exact breakdown happened.
Yeah, just so weird. But again, like, just
I'm about to watch it again because I wanted to watch the American version and then the original.
Again, I'm just gonna say one example though, like what I kind of mean about this whole thing. For example, when he was in the hotel area and he was like looking at the, in the original, looking at the girls on the TV and then masturbate into it. It's like there was nothing like sexual at all, like really going on there. It's just he was that deprived that he went to that extent. In the new one, they misunderstood the point of that. So Josh Brolin was just like literally just like watching porn. It's like they misunderstood the point that he was so deprived in the original.
He wasn't watching porn.
Oh, it was pretty much like that. It was like fucking. It was pretty sexualized and everything.
But I think the Korean guy did it way better because he had this wacky mania about him, didn't he? There was this mania about him. I think it was like a
sexualized kind of exercise thing that's with an attractive woman in comparison to the original where it really wasn't like that at all. So yeah, it's like they missed the point of that.
I think what Spike Lee did was he went to the comic and found out that there was more of a backstory to the main character, and he tried to add more of that backstory. But I think that what the Korean director did was he focused more on what was important, right? Like, and so
also he did. Let me make it clear, man, because I told you.
He left this character being more mysterious to us, so that we could kind of imagine, and it made you more sympathetic to him. I think I'm more sympathetic to the Korean version because I don't know his backstory necessarily. He could be me, he could be any of us, right? Whereas the Josh Brolin version, you see that he's a bit of a fucking asshole, right? You see, do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if you remember the movie.
They because they showed what his regular job was. They kind of shown too much about him, where they left out the mystery. Because I think that's because when you're going through it to try and figure it out, once you wonder, okay, 15 years. Why'd you lock this dude up for 15 years? What did he do to get locked up for 15 years? And then he's in the room saying to himself, I did a whole bunch of bad things in my life. Was it this guy that I messed with? Was it him? Like who was it? And I'm assuming, oh, this dude probably a gangster. He probably did some bad stuff. It wasn't even that. It was some shit that happened in fucking school, in high school, that he got in trouble for.
But here's the thing about what you mentioned. Didn't you feel more in his shoes by not knowing that much? You could project yourself more on the Korean guy because you didn't know as much about him. You just knew like that one drunk scene where he's just acting as a clown and saying he wants to go and see his daughter was enough.
Yeah.
That's all you needed to know.
Yeah, and they told more in less time. In the other one, they just get to a cliche intro instead of doing all that, and it's just cliche drunk scenes and everything with him drinking. And it's just so fucking stupid. I hate it. And yeah, also when he was getting locked up as well, and he heard like later on like the recording of telling him to lock him up for like 15 years. It's like, now I mean, again, at that place, that's what they do, so it isn't a shock. But the reaction the guy on the phone gives off is like, oh fuck, okay, well gee, I wonder what he did, because it's not like they, this is new to them, they lock up people for a long time, but it's obviously an abnormal amount of time. In the new one, it's like they missed that point. They just have like Samuel L. Jackson going, excuse me, as if he doesn't know.
I like Samuel L. Jackson in the movie. You shut your whore mouth. Samuel L. Jackson was good in that. You can't tell me Samuel L. Jackson was bad in that movie, dude. Samuel L. Jackson was funny as shit.
Well, I mean, he had nothing really to work with, though. But anyway, he was kind of shit.
Come on, bro. He was good.
I know. So, God, that.
Do you think Samuel L. Jackson was bad in the movie?
He wasn't bad. I mean, he was actually one of the few shining lights in the movie. Well, is anything Sam Jackson? Well, aside from him being in Captain Marvel, He's entertaining to watch.
He was not that good in it, and that torture scene was also shit. It's like,
oh yeah, his torture scene compared to the torture scene in
it was so fucking hilariously
as far
done.
as the character goes and the actor, well, as far as an actor goes, to keep him invested, he did that.
God,
and also, like you need to just was better in the Korean version, but there were some parts of the Old Boy in Spike Lee, nothing that was better, but some parts that were good. Samuel L. Jackson, and the torture scene of Samuel L. Jackson was actually funny. I thought it was like when he's pouring salt into his wound. It was
ridiculous. It was stupid, and it's like nobody can feel the pain of that. You know how like it feels, you know, when you have a painful tube, so you understand the pain.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to close my mouth when that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
Yeah, with the shit with the neck, it was just stupid, and it was like you need to watch that whole scene in the new one because it was just. There's so many different parts of it with Samuel L. Jackson that's just so ridiculous. Like there's this one moment where it's like he just puts like a towel or something in his mouth, and it's not even like strapped onto him, so he doesn't talk like in the original. He just like puts it in his mouth for like one fucking moment when he's cutting a piece of his neck, and he just chooses to bite on. He can spit it out. It's like it wasn't taped onto him. It's just so fucking stupid.
And another thing I do like about the movie, and we do got it ready to close it up in a bit.
Yeah. I want to go as well.
But just looking at the posters of the movie in general, it would make someone think it's an action movie, right? There's good action in this movie, but I kind of like the fact that this movie still focuses on mainly being a mystery, right?
Yeah.
The action is good up in here. Like this hallway sequence is
this hallway sequence was what influenced Daredevil.
Yep.
I mean, it influenced many things. They've copied that hallway scene in many things.
They've copied
Guardians 3 hallway scene. This was direct inspiration for that.
Yeah.
They did it for many things. Like I know A Way Out did it too.
But I like that the film was a complete action.
Was the one that kind of made it popular in West, like as a Western kind of action.
In the Netflix show.
Thing. And the guy who did Daredevil said he got it from Old Boy. And I mean, it's clear. I mean, I would have known that anyway. But like, it was just a fantastic action scene. One of the best action scenes I'd ever seen. The first time I watched that action scene, I was like, how long is this good shit gonna go on for, bro?
Yeah, I kind of wish it went on longer.
That shit was sick, bro.
Like right here at the start, all those who are blood type AB, raise your hand. And he's like, here, get rid of him first so we can get to this fight. You know, I think even this scene here, it probably did, but kind of probably inspired the way the John Wick fights happen. Because when you see John Wick fight in the movie, he gets more tired and stuff. You see that he's getting tired. In most action movies, they show him fight, and it seems as if they have infinite stamina and endurance and stuff. This thing right here, while he does ultimately win, you see him really struggling for the most part. He's not a invincible action hero here.
Yeah. I love when he hammers their feet as well. Smacking their feet.
Yeah, and there's many that try to copy stuff that like John Wick and this does, but they do it so poorly. It's just like on the surface when you're not paying too much attention, it looks fine, but then you look closely at it and it's just so random, and it's just the enemies doing nothing, just sitting there.
I think the only reason was I've seen that was
John Wick. You know, Collateral. Have you seen that shit? That shit did it better than John Wick, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, John Wick had issues with that as well at moments, but
I think the only reason, the only stuff I seen that really was just stand out was the Guardians 3 hallway scene and the Netflix Daredevil hallway stuff. Like those are the only things that was of recent I can remember that really stood out for like taking direct inspiration from this and being something that looks badass and all that. This is still to go.
this is still to go regardless. Because even before I seen this movie, I always used to watch this fight scene, and I'd never seen this movie up until this point. But now that I got to watch it, I'm glad I seen it in theaters first. You know, I didn't watch.
Why did you watch it? Because did I suggest it?
No, well, it's because when they promoted it like last week, that it was coming back to theaters, and I always did want to watch this movie, and it's kind of hard to get on streaming. You know, and when they release it in theaters, I was like, I'm just go watch in theaters. It was remastered. And
why are they releasing it in theaters? I don't understand what's happening.
They have anniversary things for films.
Yes, anniversary.
Yeah.
And they also had a interview with the director again. He came back to do an interview at the end of the movie. It was an interview that we all watched.
Oh yeah. What is he? I've seen a couple of his movies since. I liked his American movie even, but
have you seen his recent one?
All right.
What's his recent one?
All right, guys. In about 2 to 3 minutes, let's get ready
to leave. I believe. Have you seen that?
Which one?
A Decision to Leave.
No, I haven't seen that. I want to see that.
And then also, The Handmaiden was also a masterpiece as well. That came out in 2016.
Let me see Old Boy director, because every time I look at him, I'm like, he hasn't done much since.
Oh, he has.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out some more of his movies.
He also did this like Soldier one that was really amazing. Like how about you screen share it in our man? We can look at it.
All right, I'll do that. Definitely.
We're gonna get ready to close up in 2 minutes, everybody. But you know, hey,
yeah,
Old Boy, masterpiece. And I'm not just saying that because I watch it. I can. This movie is just the plot itself is just so fucking good. The plot alone.
Just so much attention to detail. It's like they even like late in the film still have makeup on his hands and fists from everything. Like a lot of directors would forget those tiny details. And I also like how, in the beginning of the film, he was fat and his friend was skinny. But then when they met up again years later, he was skinny and his friend was fat. That was a nice touch.
Oh,
but yeah,
dude, you've got to see.
That was great.
You've got to see his Vengeance trilogy. Yeah, dude, if you like Old Boy, see his Vengeance trilogy, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely see that. The Handmaiden is also a masterpiece. Definitely watch that one there.
Yeah, that's the movie he talked about in his interview that he did right before this. He said Sympathy for a Vengeance was kind of like inspiration for it gave him more motivation to take on Old Boy.
Yeah. Also, Joint Security is a really good one as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Joint Security area.
But I saw Stoker. Oh, he did do I'm a Cyborg, That's Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the one I was looking for. I wanted to watch it again. This one is weird. I liked it, but it's very fucking strange.
Oh yeah, it's weird, but I did like it. And yeah, Thirst is really good. And then right.
Cyborg, but that's okay. The Koreans and their romance dramas, they love those.
Yeah, really well done.
No, but it's two crazy people who fall in love in an asylum.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually
wait, he did Snowpiercer.
No, he worked on it in some way. He didn't direct it though. That was
What did you think of Thirst? Because I didn't love that movie. I tried it, but I couldn't.
And like, I understand if you weren't like into like what it did, but I was. But nonetheless, I think it's an amazingly made and acted film, though. Still.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to love it. Trust me, but it's got. You know what? The first movie, K. He's gone. I'll tell him when he comes back. But for anyone watching, the first movie is about a priest who gets bitten by a vampire. No, he doesn't get bitten by a vampire. He gets a vampire disease. Pardon me. But K-Dots, the Thirst movie is an interesting one. It's got a really interesting premise, but I don't know if you'll like it because I didn't love it. But
I enjoyed it, but I can understand.
It's like a priest gets the disease of vampires, basically.
Yeah,
and so he.
I'm gonna check it out because
that movie should have been better. That movie it would have been cooler if it would have been cooler if it was like less of a virus and it was actual vampires, like demonic vampires, and the priest had to deal with being consumed by demonic forces or something like that. I just think that would have made more sense. It was one of those concepts. When I heard it, I was like, "Why haven't I thought of that?" It's a fucking
I love the concept. Yeah. God damn. What was he? Oh yeah, right. That's what I was thinking of. God damn it! I still can't believe that film lost to fucking Dracula Dead in Love in Alonzo's tournament. Good lord. But like, I understand you're not, if you're not that into Thirst, but god damn, the filmmaking alone destroys fucking Dracula Dead in Love in it. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, of course it does.
All right, guys, I gotta get ready to get ready for TMNT. Gotta head over to this theater.
Yeah. Cool.
Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to see Oppenheimer. It's no guarantee. If I don't see Oppenheimer Sunday, I will see it next.
What time do you think you're going to review it at?
What, the TMNT movie?
Well, that, but also mainly Oppenheimer. If you get the chance to see it.
If I do see it Sunday morning, hopefully, I might review it. Sunday, like after.
Cole, have you seen that shit? Have you seen that shit, bro? Oppenheimer.
Wait, Oppenheimer. Yeah, I wasn't that into it, invested into it, but it's a really well made film and has great aspects.
It's a fucking masterpiece, dude. I haven't seen a film that good in a long.
I think they repeated way too many things. So
it's one of the best biographies I've ever seen. Literally one of the best biographies I've ever seen. Yeah. I'm rewatching JFK again though. That's really good as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, I just thought I thought they played the music way too much. I think if they didn't play the music in a lot of scenes, especially that cheesy, sad music, then it would have improved the scenes. And I think there were way too many scenes that repeated the same info for no reason. And I also thought there were attempts at trying to do something artsy and intriguing that kind of felt flat at moments, but I did think it was a great film overall, though.
Aren't you guys?
I don't agree with anything you said.
I mean, fair enough, but yeah, I mean, K-Dots, you ever get the chance to see? You should definitely see, all his other films, but definitely watch that one. I would say next if you get the chance to, The Handmaiden.
I'm definitely going to get to him. Don't worry on that. I will get to
him. WG?
You guys, shouts out Nerdman, shouts out Anzo, Perp, and Cole for all coming onto the stream. Hopefully we'll do this again at some point. Blue Beetle, peak cinema, better than any MCU film. Old Boy, better than every MCU film, better than every DC film. Well, it's on par with The Dark Knight. It's up there. It's up there with greatness. The Dark Knight is also greatness, but it's a masterpiece.
No. I'm sorry to say this.
I mean, I'm not. I don't. I wouldn't disagree with you, because I think
let's call it.
Real quick. Last thing I'm gonna say. Last thing I'm gonna say.
It's way better than every MCU movie.
Last thing I will say. Both The Dark Knight and Old Boy are so good that they have very little flaws in them as movies.
Hey, listen, putting Old Boy on the same level as The Dark Knight is insulting. It fucking gaps it in every area.
Look, we're just gonna leave it on that note.
Yeah, that means it completely laps every MCU movie, laps it twice.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Old Boy's peak cinema. You guys go check it out. Don't watch the Josh Brolin remake.
It's going to hurt you. Deuces.
What did you do? What did you do?